Welcome back to LearnPianoLive.com. My name is Jamin, and as you can tell from the countdown clock, the lesson is about to get started. In case you're new with this, there's a few things I'd like to show you to help you throughout the lesson. And finally, today the schedule says that I'm supposed to give an inspirational lecture. So you can do it. There you go. The truth is I usually use this time to just clear house and finally give everybody the same advice that I've been giving to individual emailers over the past several months. Because you adult students all have the same questions and the same insecurities, and you don't believe that anybody else is experiencing what you're experiencing or afraid of what you're afraid of. So we'll be doing that today. And then we'll also be taking care of some other unfrequently asked questions that sometimes show up in the live lesson. We have to filter them out just because they don't really fit in anywhere else. So it's finally your opportunity to ask all of your random off-topic questions about gear and about learning methods or about my family or anything that you want. We'll probably have an extended question and answer time. So it's tangent time. These lessons are always guided and shaped by your questions, and if you're live with us today, there's a couple different ways you can do that. One is in the public live chat, and the other is the Ask Jamin a Question button, where you can ask me a question privately, and I won't share your identity in case you're afraid that your question is stupid. But it's not. If you're in the archives, though, then just open up the survey. At the end of that, there's a place where you can ask your question. I will say I frequently get questions from students in the archives watching a lesson from 6 months ago, and I have no idea what they're talking about. So please try to be as specific as possible. If you're watching this at LearnPianoLive.com, there should be a PDF and an MP3 button right next to this video. The PDF will often have additional video links inside so you can get more in-depth instruction on each of the topics. And if you're the kind of person who likes to print out the PDF so you can make the same notes on your physical version as I'm making during the lesson, now would be the time to do that. The MP3 is just a play-along track so you can practice more after the lesson. If these live lessons start feeling random or meandering, it's because they are, on purpose. So if you're the kind of person who wants classical training with a step-by-step method, then you're going to want to check out Clopple Academy on the website. It's included in your live lesson subscription, so you can do both or either. And the upper levels are seriously hard work, but it's going to take you all the way from ground zero all the way up to being ready to enter any major music college as a piano major in classical or jazz. And thankfully, I think that's about all we need to cover before the lesson. So if you'd stick around afterwards and fill out the survey, I would love your feedback. But for now, let's have some fun and make some music. Question number 1, is that intro out of order? Yes, it is. Very much so. So let's go ahead and jump into our questions here. And like I said, go ahead and ask any questions you have. As I'm going to be focusing especially on the stream from the website, the subscribers at LearnPianoLive.com. But if you're watching on one of the other channels too, I will try to get to those as well. And we have 2 more parts to this today. So fortunately, I'll be able to hopefully put some of those in the later lessons and stuff if we don't have time to get to all of them today. And I'm going to go ahead and show you, this might be a terrible idea, I guess I'll find out later. I'm going to go ahead and show you the outline that I have. Here we go, maybe that one. So that you can kind of see what's what I'm looking at and what's coming up. So question number 1, why am I struggling with my instrument? And this comes in many forms. So man, that feels like it's chopping off my head. Hang on. It's a little better. So this comes in many forms. So questions have to do with how come the fingering on this is so hard, or why is it so difficult to play chords, or things like that. So the answer, honestly, is for you adult students, that's all normal stuff. Like 95 or higher % of the stuff that you guys ask me about is just like normal stuff. Like what about the tucking the finger on those scales that I'm supposed to do? Like it just seems really awkward to do that. And you know, every now and then I've got some technique that I can show you guys where you know, you're swinging your elbow out too far, and so you just keep your elbow tucked in. But for the most part, honestly, it's just all really normal stuff. This stuff just takes time to learn how to do. So Anyway, in most instances, you're not struggling more than most people. You're just struggling more than you're used to struggling. So it feels like something must be terribly wrong, and it's just not. So, yeah, but if you're a subscriber or something, and you've got a question, even if you're not a subscriber, a lot of times, if you send me a video of yourself playing and I've got any real quick tips for you, and I've got time, I can send those off. I'll be happy to help you. But most likely, if you're one of the 95 or higher percent, you're just going to get the answer from me. Yeah, that's normal. I struggled with that too until I practiced enough that I didn't anymore. So next one, how do I practice piano efficiently? And again, not everybody, all you adult students are all looking for shortcuts. And there are people out there who are willing to sell you a shortcut. I've interviewed several of them on the website during lessons and stuff. And it's all just going to boil down to the number of hours that you put into it. There's a little bit of, a teacher hopefully can help you practice more efficiently, showing you some techniques and stuff. So you don't spend hours doing the wrong thing. But what's missing in 100% of bad pianist cases is more practice time. And then only in a few very small percent is there some kind of technique or something that's missing. So practice time. Now, while you're practicing, it will help if you just keep in mind that what you're trying to do is, you've got 100% brain capacity. And so it's, for right now, at the very beginning, it's going to take 100% of your brain capacity to just try to make a finger play without making other fingers play too. Because very rarely do you have to just use one finger at a time. I guess typing is kind of like that. But then you come here and you try to play like two of them at a time. Like, this is a really difficult thing to do. Just playing those two fingers with having these other ones up here and not accidentally getting that ring finger there. This is really tough to do. And there's not, I don't think, another place in life where you're going to be doing this as much that I can think of, playing multiple fingers at a time and not playing others. So just remember that, like, sometimes that little tiny thing that you're trying to do is going to take up 100% of your brain capacity. You are working on it so that that's going to take up less and less and less and less a percentage of your brain, so that you have more space to think about whatever that next thing is. Maybe you get that thing down. All right, so now that we have that thing down, now we need to switch back and forth between those two and switch those fingers. Like, oh, great. So we just got this thing down to like 50%. And now this other thing, this switching thing, is going to take another 60% of your brain. It's just not going to happen. Something is going to fail. You're going to end up playing wrong notes all over the place because you're trying to use 110% of your brain. So you practice that until that thing only takes up 60, 50% of your brain, and then you add something else. And honestly, this is what we do from here until eternity, is we just keep trying to cram more things in, practice them so they take up less and less space in our brain. So the majority of those actions are actually subconscious in your fingers. And then you can add something else on. So that's why everybody, myself and every pianist I know, always has more that they're reaching for, because you're always using 100% of your brain. That's where you are practicing. Is it like that 105, 110% range? That's where you always are. So going for, just knowing that's what is going to happen. That's what we're going for, and trying to work on things so that they can just become muscle memory. That way, every failure isn't an actual failure per se. You're not doing something wrong. Your brain's not malfunctioning here. We're just trying to get this action to be subconscious. And as you might know, like when you move to a new house, like a couple times, perhaps in those first few months, you might accidentally, when you're going home from work, you might accidentally start driving to your old house, right? Just because you did it so many times that when your brain is off, you're just making all the turns. And like, it's a really complicated thing. If you remember back when you were first trying to learn how to drive, and the amount of effort that took, and it seemed like there's so many things going on. There's cars coming this way, and there's cars beside me, and there's lights to watch out for, and there's like a million things going on. And you can, with enough practice, accidentally drive to the wrong house at this point. So it's gonna take a lot of repetition, because the reason you went to your old house is because you went there 1,000 times. So the way to get this thing down is to do that 1,000 times and mess up 995 of them. Once you get it 5 times in a row and it's all good, then it's time to move on to the next thing. So know that it's the subconscious mind that's playing. Oh, and then the U+1. So I've kind of already said this, but just to say it more explicitly, you're always trying to practice at whatever you can do. I tell my younger students that you should practice the section of the song that you can do plus 1 note. Don't try to go all the way from the beginning of the song all the way to the end of the song, because the majority of that time you're not actually improving. You're improving when you just try to add in that one more note, because it's the one, honestly, that you feel like you should be able to do, because you know you can do this thing, but this thing over here, like, I feel like that should be within reach, right? And so that's probably the best practice time that you're getting, because it's really focused practice. Like, this is the thing that song owes you. You should be able to do that thing. And this is the stuff that, that's easy, even though it was like impossible a week ago, right? This is, well, that's easy. That's not impressive anymore. But this thing right here, how come I keep screwing up this thing over here? So practicing the section that you can know, that you can already do, plus 1 note. But if you're working on chords and other things like that, it's not a written out song, then I would just say whatever it is that you can do, and then plus 1 tiny little thing just to bump you over that 100% capacity of your brain, so you're just stretching for what you can't quite do yet, and making all of that, compacting all of that into a smaller part of your conscious brain. All right. Then how do I find a good piano teacher? Hey, I'm right here, baby. So I would say try a lot of different teachers. So I'm not the right fit for everybody. Maybe for most people. It has to be that I'm not the right fit for most people, right? Yeah, that has to be true. So just try a bunch of them, and don't feel bad about leaving one teacher for another teacher. I will say that there is, you have to learn what you are capable of doing, and sometimes you feel like you don't have a good teacher because you're not capable of doing something yet, when the truth is, you just don't have a mean enough teacher like me yet to just say, hey, this is your fault. Like, you're not doing anything wrong, but it's just the numbers of hours of practice. No one can do this yet. It's just going to take a lot more practice, right? And you go in and you want a special technique. I know, because you ask me all the time for special techniques. What can I do? I feel like I'm messing up. You just do it more. Just do it more. And so that can feel like, well, this teacher doesn't know what in the world he's doing. He doesn't understand my struggle. So then you go to a different teacher, and then they give you the same answer, and you go to a different teacher, and they give you the same answer. But for some reason, you've spent the right number of hours practicing that thing or whatever, and you finally get it. And you feel like with that teacher, wow, you finally made a connection, and they helped you get it, and now you understand, and now everything works together. When the truth is, they just happen to be the one at the right time. I've got a guitar student that I can think of right now where that's definitely the case. He went to another teacher, and he's like a teacher that I know who's a great, fantastic teacher, probably honestly a better musician than I am, better guitarist than I am, for sure. But he just didn't feel the connection, and he got to me, and I basically gave him the same exact advice he got at the last place. I'm like, you might want to go back and check that guy out, because he's actually better guitarist than I am. But he just feels like he's got a connection with me, because when he came to me, it was the right time, and he happened to accomplish some of the things that had been frustrating him before. So that can happen, and whatever. But if that's the person that you feel like you connected with, it doesn't matter if it's a placebo or not. If it works, it works. So stick with that teacher, and you're going to be more motivated then to impress them and to practice hard and to work on that stuff. So definitely go with the teacher that you most respect, but that you feel is accessible. You don't want some idol that you don't play freely in front of, but then you also don't want someone that you feel like is on your level. You don't want a teacher that you feel like you could easily impress. So someone who's going to make you work hard, because the practice hours are what are going to make you better, not the teacher. Okay. Next, what are the best songs to learn on piano? So then this is almost 100% of starting out students ask me this, what should I work on? What's a good song to learn for a beginner? Truth is, Mary Had a Little Lamb. But I know you're not going to want to work on that. So that's a terrible song for you to work on, because you're not going to care about that at all. So then it's some kind of balance of okay, not a song like Mary Had a Little Lamb, but what's a good song for a beginner to work on? Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. No, like a real song. Like, what's a good, real song to... You mean a hard song? What's a good, hard song that's easy to play? So, my answer is always, frustratingly to my students, what are you interested in playing? Like, whatever song it is that you want to do, you like Billy Joel, we can find a version of Billy Joel that you can start out on. It might not be, something that's super impressive to you. Like, it might not be the version that you're hoping for, but you can... Like, that could be a thing that you practice. If you can't do that yet, that'd be great practice. Or... maybe you can work on that. Maybe that's kind of difficult, but maybe that's a version of the song. So in all cases, it's whatever you're motivated to work on. I've had some students who have picked they've come in with like, this is the song that I really want to learn. I'm like, but you can't do this. Like, this is way above you. But they were motivated to practice, and it took them a few months to get it down, and they spent hours and hours and hours practicing, but that's what they were motivated to work on. So not only for you students, but for you teachers, I'd say assign the songs that the kids are gonna want to play, or the adults, because that's what they're gonna go home and practice. So it's just that finding that balance of like something that's interesting enough that you're motivated to accomplish it, but it's easy enough that it's not going to take you forever to learn. You're going to get depressed in the course of learning it. So it's not about the song. It's about your interest level. This one, oh my goodness. This one right here could take the next 3 hours of our stream right here. How do I play blank the right way? Man. So in classical music, you've got the right way, because it's a certain set of notes that's all written out, and 100% of people who play it that way. And it's that is the song, is playing all of those notes in that order, that way, at that tempo. That is the song. Everything else, unless the composer died 200 or more years ago. So all the pop music, all the jazz, all the smooth jazz, all the rock, all the stuff that has been written and is popular recently, it's all going to be versions, covers of the songs. When the artists themselves go out to play the concerts, they're covering their own songs, and in a lot of cases, they don't even play them the same exact way that they did on the album. They try really hard, but honestly, a lot of them, after they record it, they have to go back and listen to their recording to make sure that they put all the right fills in all the right places with all the right emphasis, the way they did on the album, because even they struggle to play it the right way. Okay, next step. If you are playing a song on the piano that was originally recorded in a band that has no piano, there is no right way. Every version that you could possibly play on the piano is not going to be the right way, because to do it the right way, you've got to get those musicians playing those instruments, playing that song, and you've got to teach them how to play it the way they played it last time. Okay? Cool. Well, what if it has a piano in it? If it's got a piano, I can play Journey the way that Journey plays Journey, because even Journey can learn how Journey played it, and so that I could play it like that. Except that if there's a band in there, the piano is playing a small percent of the overall sound. So when you play your version of it, you play exactly what the pianist is playing, note for note. It's not going to sound like that original song, because that piano was not the whole band, and you are now the whole band. So everything that you could possibly play is extremely derivative of the right way to play the song. So that means we're back to that last question. Like, what's the right way? What's the best song? The right way to play it is the version that uses as much of your toolbox to imitate as much of the important characteristics of that song. So there might be, a tempo. There might be a really fast song. So you should play it really fast. Maybe that's the struggle. So we play a really easy version fast, because the most important characteristic of that song is that it's fast. Or in that key. Maybe you want to play it in the original key so you could play along with them. So that's going to be important. So it's just a matter of ranking, like, what are the important characteristics of this song, and what are the things that I can do, matching up as much of those as possible, and then you've got it. And I can already hear you. Well, what about if I wanted to play 100% of the characteristics of the song? That's what I'm saying. Those don't exist. You can't get 100% of the characteristics because you're on a piano, and they're probably not. And if it is a pianist, man, yes. I've fought this battle so many times. I can already hear the arguments coming back at me. So if it's a pianist who's played that song before, you probably, you listen to Kyle Landry play a version, and then he makes the sheet music for it. And you ask Kyle Landry on the street, hey, would you play that one song that you played? And he sits down and plays it. He's probably not gonna play what he sold you on the sheet music. You're like, hey, he messed it up, except that he's Kyle Landry. So you're not going to say, hey, Kyle Landry messed up. You're going to say, hey, Kyle Landry improvised. That's so cool. He can just make up stuff on the spot. Yeah, because he didn't remember how he did it the first time. That's what it is. There is no right version, even when there's a printed out correct right version. Of course, there's orchestrations and stuff for bands, and so there's right ways for bands to play a specific orchestration. But if you're a pianist, you're trying to cover a song the right way, it just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. The right way for you is the way that you can do that incorporates as many possible characteristics as possible. You're never going to get 100% of the characteristics. Okay, I'm just going to stop it right there and respond to your questions then later, as I forgot to. Oh, cool. Hey, Zoka dude. Oh, the reharmonization stuff. Hey, cool. Glad you like it. Oh, cool. All right. That's not a question, but that's very nice of you. Thanks. All right. So moving on. Oh, what I was saying before is you're gonna, I don't remember what I was going to say. Yep. You're going to end up doing the version that you can do. How can I get better at sight reading? This is an important one here because I think the honest answer for almost everybody is you don't want to. It's probably not nearly as helpful as you think. So here's the thing. I'm going to try to not take up too long with this analogy, but it seems to really, really work for me. So reading books and telling stories, those are two entirely different skills, right? A person who is good at making the sounds represented on the page is not a person necessarily who is good at telling an engaging, compelling story. Cool. So what you really want is a good, compelling story. There's a lot of good, compelling stories that are written down. So if you can tell a good story and you can also read, cool, win-win. But the real goal of everything, the goal of the written down part, is telling a good, compelling, interesting, educating story. Okay, so then the goal of piano playing is to create sounds that engage the audience, that create a lot of suspense, and then finally relieve the tension. That's what you're going for. Writing music down is just one way of trying to capture a person's explanation of how you could do that. Right, so creating that tension and then having your audience engaged enough that they desire at least one more note from you. That's what you want. That and sight reading are two very, very, very different skills. And in most cases that I've, in most of my experience, we'll go with that. Sight reading is not I don't want to say it's not a valuable skill. It's not a skill that you engage with as often as you think that you would. So, if you're playing a wedding and the mother of the bride comes up and gives you sheet music and is like, hey, here's the bride's favorite song they want you to play for the first dance. Here's the song. You've never seen it before. It was not on the playlist they gave you. What's up with this? And you're looking at it. You can't say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't read music. Because then you're never going to get another gig again, and they are definitely going to try to follow you and make sure that everyone who's about to hire you knows how terrible you are. So it's a really super important skill, but that almost never happens, right? Usually you get the music ahead of time, or it's like it's background music where you're not like playing a concert. Even if you were playing a concert, you would get the music ahead of time. Nope, There's not a whole lot of places where you have to read music, but everybody feels like that's where music happens, is sheet music. Like everyone knows there's sheet music. It exists. That's music, right? And it's just not. So learning some good theory, some good technique, I think those are going to be more common. They're going to more commonly have a payoff for you than reading sheet music. So usually students say like, hey, I want to learn how to, they'll come in the first lesson. Hey, I want to learn how to read sheet music. Okay, cool. I don't think that you do. No, I really do. Cool. Let's read some sheet music. And we get a little ways into it and they finally go, oh, I don't think that I think I just wanted to learn how to play this song. I didn't really want to learn how to read sheet music. I just thought that was the only way to learn how to play this song was to read the sheet music. And then we, make the compromise. And then I've got to drag them back into reading sheet music because it is a cool skill. In the same way that someone came in like, hey, here's this book. So I want to learn how to tell a good story and I want to use this book. Well, okay, we could start with A says ah and B says buh. And then eventually you'll be able to read this story called Moby Dick. Or probably the better way to tell this story is I'll just tell you the story and you can practice telling me the story back and we can work on you telling a good story. And then after that, we can eventually get into like, well, how do you write that stuff down? Okay, so that was my long rambling. It could have been way longer, way ramblinger version. You probably don't want to read sheet music as much as you think that you want to, unless you've already played for a lot. If you're a beginner student, probably the thing you want to get into at the beginning is making sounds on the piano that sound cool and that your friends think are cool. That's what you should work on. And then, of course, the answer to, well, how do I get good at it? I really, really want to do it. The answer is the same as actual reading. Like, because my kids are at the learning how to read well stage right now, 7 and 6 and a bunch of other ages, 4, 3. So they're like right in the midst of it. And the answer to like, how do I get good at reading is do a lot of it. Go to the library, find a good book, and then try to read it. And when you're done with that, then get another book, and then get another book, and get another book for years and years and years. And then eventually you'll be able to just pick up any book that you want and read it, unless it has complicated words in it. So the truth is you can never learn how to read. Like, I know how to read, but give me like a medical journal and like, I'm sorry, I can't read. What? I thought you knew how to read. Yeah, but this isn't the same. So music is exactly the same way. Like, you never learn how to read music. You can just get really good at the majority of it that you're likely to see, and you can learn how to fake the rest of it because the bride's not gonna know that you didn't play all the notes on the page. So if you come close and you play her song, then she's gonna be happy you get paid. Okay, cool. What level am I at? So we have like beginner, intermediate, and advanced lessons at Learn Piano Live, which was a terrible, terrible idea to start because everybody is intermediate. So adults generally, you have more skill than you ever want to let on. You're always like, oh, I don't know anything. Start me at the very, very beginning. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, we have 7 letters in music. Like, well, I know A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, I thought we were at the beginning. Okay, well, to find a C, I already know how to find a C. Okay, well, a C scale is, well, I know it's all the white notes. Well, you said you didn't know anything. You said start me at the beginning. So most of you like had some music lessons in junior high and you don't think that you remember anything from it, but you kind of do, and you're just hoping. What you really mean is not treat me like I don't know anything. What you really mean is please don't make me feel like a fool. And so if we're going to do this thing, you're going to feel like a fool. This is what we're here for, is to find where the level of expertise and fool is and to slowly expand the expertise into the fool range. In order to find that, we're constantly going to be stepping on the fool range. So if you want lessons where like, don't make me feel like I don't know what's going on, then maybe take up a different hobby. I really want to say like drums there, but that's not nice and not true, not fair. So anyway, everyone's an intermediate, so you probably don't know nothing, and no one ever wants to consider themselves advanced or expert at anything. But show up for the lessons anyway, because there's almost always some beginner level and intermediate level stuff in there. So you'll just have to grab those little nuggets if you're patient enough to stick around through the stuff that you don't understand, and be good with not understanding a lot of it, just letting some of it go over your head. And when a nugget flies by that's like the right size that you can catch, I don't even know what this analogy is, where things are flying over your head and you're trying to catch nuggets. Like, wear a helmet. This sounds dangerous. Then you just take that and, go practice on that thing. How long will it take me to get good? So back to the 100% capacity thing. We'll make this our last question for the day. And then all the others that are, you guys are hilarious. So then back to the 100% analogy thing. In the same way that you're constantly trying to take all of your stuff and cram it down into a smaller and smaller percentage of your brain, that always leaves that other space there, and there's always stuff to put in that space. So that means you're just never going to get there. So I constantly talk about this journey, and I think a lot of you, especially beginning students, take that to mean that. We're just all working really hard together. And I don't really mean that. Some people aren't working at all, but they've taken 3 steps on the journey, and they're just going to be at 3 steps for forever. And they're happy there, so they can do what they care to do on this tool, on this piano. And so then they're just cool with it. They are on the journey, but they're not working hard with all of us. They happen to be on the journey. Also, this thing just doesn't end. This is a path that just doesn't have, I've got a friend who always uses a measuring stick, and he's and I'm right here, and then so-and-so's right here, and so-and-so's right here, and maybe you're back here. But the problem with that is that analogy has some kind of end to it. And this path honestly just does not have an end to it ever. You're never going to sound, no, I was going to say you're never going to sound good to yourself, but you're never going to sound as good as you want to, because you're always going to hear that next little thing that you think the music owes you, or that you feel like you should be able to do, but your hands just aren't doing yet because some malfunction in your brain, something's going wrong. I don't know, maybe I should ask my teacher what's going on here. You just haven't practiced it enough. But so there's always going to be that other thing. And as soon as you get to that thing, then as soon as you can do that, then that's going to open up something else that you can't quite do yet, but now you can see, oh, there's this other thing. I thought that once I got here, I was gonna be a good pianist, but now that I can do this thing, now I see all this other stuff that I can't do yet. And so you're just all constantly everybody that I know is just on that horizon of here's all the stuff that I can do, and then here's infinity, and you're just looking out at infinity, trying to take one more tiny little step. And the closer you get to infinity, the more infinity impresses you. So at the beginning, it feels I should be it might take me a year to become decent, and then 5 years to be really good. And then once I'm doing this for 10 years, then I could be a professional pianist. It just doesn't work that way. Professional means you get paid for it. You can get paid for some really, really bad piano. So you could be a professional pretty quick if you can find someone to hire you to play the 5 songs that you learned in 6 months. But once you get 10 years out, you're just going to see, oh, I've got 1,000 years out in front of me. So we're just not going to get there, which is why, again, I just say you got to enjoy the journey. If you enjoy this thing of challenging yourself and these little increments of progress, and if you really enjoy hearing the sounds, being able to create this stuff, language, being able to express how much you love someone to their face and have that interaction, if you get that when you're at the piano and you make a sound, I did that. I can put these 2 notes together, and I know they're going to sound good, and I can go back and forth like this and create some tension. And that was me. And this thing right here took me forever to learn. But now I have that. And if the piano can do that for you, and there's this interaction, then that's what we're really in it for, not where we're ever going to get. You just have to constantly enjoy what you already can do, and then just be trying to add one little nugget to it, because you're never going to get to the place that you think that you're going to get. I'm not rich enough to know. I think it's the same way with money. I think you feel like, man, if I was getting paid $100,000 a year, like, I wouldn't need to do anything else. And you get there, you're like, oh yeah, well, like maybe 500,000. Yeah, I wouldn't even know what to do with that much money. And then once you get there, it's like just constantly this goalpost that just keeps moving. Goal line, goal something. I don't know what sport it is, but whatever the sport is, you never get to the place where you score at the end. Man, these are just falling apart. So, never, honestly, never. The other thing that kind of goes with this, and it's the answer to another question that I was supposed to say for later, but it goes so well here. I frequently have things that I will take into other pianists who are better than me, and I'll play it for them, and I'll be like, something just like isn't right here. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't sound nearly as cool. It'll be like a transcription or something, like someone else played it, and then I learn what it is, and then I play it, and then I'm like, it just doesn't sound right. And then that other person will sit down and you mean like this? And they'll play it, and I'll be like, yes, like that. Like, how did you make that sound? Like, I just played what you just played. I don't know, we're playing the same thing. And I will go back and listen to a recording of us playing it. We're playing it exactly the same. But like when my brain is the brain that is causing the actions, a lot of times, especially if it's taking up 100% of my capacity, I don't have any percent left to be like a third person observer of what I'm doing to like just listen to it. It's all just being processed. So I'm processing and not listening. And I get done and I go, well, how did that sound? It didn't sound nearly as satisfying as I thought it was going to sound. But then as soon as I like just record myself playing it, if I listen right back, my brain is still going to process through every one of those notes. I'm going to have the same problem. If I record it and then I just like listen to it like a week or 2 weeks later or like 3 months later when I don't remember how to do that thing anymore, I go, wow, that was actually really cool. That sounded really good. What did I do? That was really neat. And I'll end up transcribing my own stuff that I played a long time ago. Because when I was playing it, it didn't sound impressive at all. That's because, again, my brain was just too busy processing the thing that I was doing to be able to sit back and enjoy my playing. Which is a really, really cool place to get to when you finally have enough stuff crammed down into like the 5 to 10% of your brain that you can like spend 80 to 90% of your brain just listening and enjoying the music that is coming out of this instrument that somebody is making, and the somebody is that other 5 to 10% of your brain, and you're the person both playing and enjoying it. But that will never be at the level where you're practicing, because you're always practicing at 100%. So you'll never be able to appreciate the sounds of the stuff that you're creating while you're practicing. Okay, enough words for a day. We have 2 more days of this, so I believe, Wayne, that you are rich enough to know that you know what you're talking about. Cool. So yeah, until next time, I guess this is the part where I say good luck. Have fun, and join us tomorrow, or if you're in the archives, then just check out the next lesson, and we'll see how this format evolves and develops as we go. Love ya. Good luck.